today's video we are going to be playing with, swatching, and reviewing the Flamingo palette by Violet Voss. This is the very first Violet Voss palette or Violet Voss product I think that I'm actually using. I have, I have walked by some Violet Voss products. I've seen Violet Voss products at, IMATs. I've seen their booth. I've went to their booth. I've almost picked up a few things, but I never did. I have a friend who's diehard for their Holy Grail palette, so she raves about Violet Voss, and now Violet Voss is actually being sold in Target. So I did actually just see a few pairs of lashes the other day there, and then their lips. But I thought I would pick this palette up because I think it's so beautiful. I think it's really, really pretty. I think it's really not different in a sense, but I really like the different color combinations that you can do. I am going to swatch this for you right now. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and swatch these shades for you, and then we're going to go ahead and start the tutorial. We're going to go on my arm. So, whoops, I already have 2 shades swatched. We're going to go ahead and swatch Flamingos, which is the first shade. And I'm going to rub back and forth because I feel like a single swatch is not going to do anything. And I'm a little tan, so I'm going to try and get as much color payoff as I can. Can you guys see that? The next shade is Donut, which is a really pretty shade. Then we have Flip Flops, which kind of looks like a duochrome topper. Next we have Bikini. Second row we have Ocean Front, Tidal Wave, Gorgeous, Beach Ball, and then we have Watermelon. I can already tell a few of the mattes are a little bit smoother than the others, so just keep in mind some of them are smoother than others. I feel like Flamingos is smoother than Watermelon. Third row we have Lemonade. Like I said, I'm really tan, so I'm sorry. Then we have Pineapple. Gorgeous, can't wait to throw that on my lid. We have Popsicle, which I did use today, so I am loving this shade. Really, really pretty orange. We have Sunbathe. Fourth row we have Surf. Really pretty. That's like a duochromy like blue. Then we have Coral, which I feel like looks like a matte in the pan, but when you swatch it and then when you use it on your eyes, it's a little bit more of a satiny, because I feel like it has a sheen to it. Then we have Island, which is my favorite color in this palette. It's what I have on my lids. Look at that. How pretty is that? And then we have Sand, which is just a bone colored shadow. Sorry, you see my eczema. Last row is Seashell. Then we have Pinwheel, second favorite color in this palette. So pretty. Sandals. And then we have Sunnies. Sunnies? Sunnies. Which, this black, that black's awesome. So these are all of the shades swatched. I know they're kind of small swatches, but these are all of the shades swatched back and forth. So obviously Seashell, Flip Flops, and Bikini kind of look more like toppers. They're duochrome toppers, I feel like. But the other mattes, I feel like they're pretty pigmented. These look like they're going to come up the same color on camera, but I promise you, Popsicle is a nice orange, and then Sunbathe is a nice color to blend this out with. This shade, probably one of my favorites. Love Island. I love these shades because they're so pretty and vibrant. I wish these shades were kind of like these, but it's okay. I can forgive it. So those are all the swatches. If you guys want to see how to get this look, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Also, I don't do any of the face on camera, so I will leave everything that I used down below in the description box, along with my other forms of social media, which is Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. Will all be linked down below in the description box, so make sure you go ahead and follow me on there. And yeah, if you guys want to see what I think about this palette, then let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, let's get started before my concealer starts to crease. I'm just gonna assume you guys a lot of tap on my lid. Okay, so I already primed my lids with concealer just because that's my preferred method, and I've been using the Too Faced Born This Way Sculpting Concealer, and this is in the shade Swan. This is the lightest shade, and I like it because it doesn't really have much of an undertone to it. Like, it almost looks white. Like, it almost blends in with the background. In person, it does look like it has an undertone to it. I don't use this shade on the rest of my face. I just use it to prime my lid and actually cut my crease too. So today's video is going to be on the Violet VOSS Flamingo palette. I just think this palette is really, really pretty, and this is my first time trying Violet VOSS shadows, so I'm excited. I did swatch it, but this is what it looks like. It's actually like this way, opens up like a book. So it's really, really pretty. I like the packaging. I did read a few mixed reviews on it, so I thought I would pick it up and try it for myself just because that's what I'm gonna do. I don't really know what I want to do because I really want to touch these oranges and these pinks. In the intro, you guys already did see me swatch them, so some are good, some are bad. So let's see how they work on the eyes. So recently I haven't been setting my lids. This does leave a pretty tacky base. I haven't been setting my concealer because I do use my concealer to prime my eyes. So I haven't been setting it recently just because I feel like I get better pigmentation out of my shadows, and I just feel like it looks better. The colors look a little bit more vibrant, and I don't know, like sometimes like I'll have an area that's a little bit more choppy because, you know, the area is still wet, but when you blend over it a little bit, it goes away. So I personally don't like setting my crease anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna grab this Smith 232 brush, and I cleaned it for you guys. Some of that in. I think we're gonna go in with Sunbathe first. It's this pretty orangey shade, and there is a little fallout in the pan, but I'm not complaining about it. Actually, I'm not gonna go in with that shade. I'm gonna go in with Coral, which is this pink shade right here, because we're actually gonna build our crease first and then go in with a color. Coral, same thing, not really much fallout. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and I like to push it first. So I'm pushing it on the outer corner, which I think that looks good off the bat. I think this does look good off the bat, pushing it in. I'm gonna apply a little bit more. I think that looks good. This is a good color right now. And I am going back in the palette a little bit just because I want the highest amount of pigmentation. And I'm blending this into my crease now. I don't really know what I'm going for today, but I do just want like a really pretty, I'm probably gonna do a cut crease, I'm sorry. I like how pinky it is. Like, I think it looks really, really pretty. Okay, I think that looks really, really pretty. I don't feel like it's patchy at all. I'm just gonna build up the color a little bit more. I feel like in the pan, it doesn't look matte. I feel like in the pan, it looks like it has a sheen. Okay, pretty. I'm digging it. I'm liking it. Not really sure where this look is going, but it's okay. I really like this color, actually. I really, really like this color. So now we're going to go in with a little bit of Sunbathe, that color I was going to go in with first. Same brush, just dust it off. And we're just going to go ahead and blend right over top so we have no harsh lines. I think Coral has a sheen to it because my crease is looking a little shiny. I'm going to take Sand because it is like a skin tone color. I'm just going to take Sand, and now I'm just going to blend this up towards my brow bone. So I'm going to grab Popsicle now, which is this orange shade, on a Smith 230 brush. I'm going to put this deeper in the crease, a little bit more towards the front. So I went ahead and did this eye off camera just because my camera was acting a little weird. So this is what we got going on. I'm sorry it's a cut crease, but it's a light cut crease, you know, like it's a light cut crease. It's not intense, it's not crazy, it doesn't have like 17 shimmers on the lid, even though I did apply 17 shimmers and they just didn't pop up. But we'll get back to that. Let's go ahead and continue on this eye. So what I did was I went in with Flamingos. So I'm grabbing Flamingos on my Smith 247. This shadow has a little bit more kickback than the other few mattes that I've dabbled into, but it's okay. I'm living with it. So I'm just throwing Flamingos right over top of where we threw that Coral shade, just because the sheen was throwing me off a little bit, in all honesty. It was throwing me off a little bit, and Flamingos is a matte. So I'm just throwing this in the crease. It's like a corally, it's a little bit darker than the coral shade. So I'm grabbing Popsicle now, and I'm throwing Popsicle really far into this inner corner here, like this inner eye socket, just because I want there to be the most orange here. So next I'm going in with Sandals, which is this pretty color right here. It's like a really dark, it kind of reminds me of like a lighter version of ABH Sienna, and I'm going in on the same Smith 247 brush, and I'm just packing this on the outer corner. Pack first and then blend out. That's how you're going to get most pigmentation out of your shadows. That's how you're going to get most of the color payoff, by packing it first, even on like a flat brush like this, because even though it's a fluffy brush, it does have a flat side. So patting it on and then diffusing the edges with just the tips of the bristles is really going to help you give that color payoff. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut the crease. I'm grabbing my Too Faced Born This Way concealer in Swan, and I'm picking it up on my concealer brush, and we're just going to carve out the lid. So I like to put it down here first, look up, and then follow. Crap, I wrote that one higher up than that side. It's okay. Whatever. It's okay. I like this side better anyway. Because I have hooded lids and I have all these folds in my lids, I always have to bring the concealer up into my crease a little bit to fake the illusion that I have more lid space. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to spritz my brush. I did try applying this shadow dry. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to grab Island right here on a flat brush, but it's not as intense as I want it to be, so I'm just going to go ahead and take my setting spray. Oh my god, I love this color. So when I was doing this eye off camera, I noticed that after I cut my crease and I packed on the Sandals shade to the concealer, it did darken. Sometimes that does happen with shadows because the concealer is wet, so it makes the shadow turn a little bit darker, kind of like oxidizing. But you know, when something's wet, it looks like it's getting darker, but it's really just wet. It's saturated. So that's pretty much what was going on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and take Sandals, throw this across. So I'm kind of like angling it as if like I had a wing. I had no intention of playing with orange today, but I saw this bodysuit in my drawer and I was like, oh yeah. This is how much fallout is in the palette. Not sure if you can tell. Island definitely had the most fallout, but I honestly think it was the brush that I was using. So I really do like this palette. I really didn't have a problem with it, just like Island not sticking to the lid, but nothing some, you know, wet base or glitter glue can help. The only thing for me that's missing in this palette is a dark brown. I know you have Sandals here, which is like a dark orangey shade, but I feel like they could have put a brown in here somewhere. Like I feel like they could have gotten rid of at least one of these shades, like Surf. I feel like that's a little bit random because it's a little bit more blue and these are more greenish blue. I feel like they could have gotten rid of either Flamingos or Watermelon just because these are pretty similar, or Flamingos and Coral just because these are pretty similar too. This is just like a shade darker than Coral. So I feel like they could have just added a brown in there somewhere, even though it's like, I guess, not summery. I didn't have a problem with this palette. I think it's nice, but I still need a brown. I just want a little bit more depth and definition in my outer crease area. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my Dose of Colors Sassy Siennas palette, and I'm going to just take a mix of either these two or these two, probably these two, just because they're still on the warm side, so it's going to complement the orange. So I'm just tapping my brush in and just throwing this in the outer corner just because I want some more definition there. I just want it to look a little bit deeper than it is. Even that just helps it a little bit because it doesn't make it look so flat on the outer corner. I'm taking the darkest brown in this palette and I'm just pushing it. And I'm going to go in with Sandals again just to help blend out and diffuse those edges. I'm just going to wipe off that brush again and take a little bit more of Popsicle because I really like Popsicle. This orange, like in this inner corner here. I think it's really pretty. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I did my base, my whole face off camera. I tried doing like some faux freckles. I've never done them before, but I have a shit ton of freckles now from the sun. So they were actually like peeking through on my nose. And then I had a pimple on my nose, so I made it a beauty mark, and then I kind of went freckle crazy, and here we are. So for the lower lash line, I really want to go in with this green. I'm going out, and I don't really know if orange and green eyeshadow is like bar appropriate. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Sassy Siennas palette, and I'm going to grab the darkest shade and just push that up against my lower lash line. I'm not going to be like too precise with it. I'm using a Zoeva 226 smudger. I'm taking Pinwheel right now, and I'm throwing it like where I blended out the outer corner and where the inner corner kind of meet. So then I'm going to go back in with Sandals, and I'm going to take Sandals and just blend out on the outer corner. So the Sandals is right there. I'm going to connect it with that outer corner on top. And then I'm going to go in with Popsicle and just throw that right on the inner part. I'm going to throw on some mascara, and then I'll apply some falsies off camera. This is the Wander Beauty Unlashed Volume and Curl Mascara. This was actually in my BoxyCharm this month, so I thought I would give it a go. Okay, so I'm going to throw on some lashes and some lips, and then we'll talk about this bad guy. Okay, so this is the completed look. I know it's a cut crease, and I'm really sorry, but like I really had no idea. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, plus I'm going out, so I couldn't really do much of a bright, fun colored. I mean, I could have, but that's just not me. Okay, so let's talk about this palette. This is the very first Violet Voss palette I've ever used, so I don't really have anything to go off of. From the reviews that I was reading off of Sephora, and then a few other influencers that I spoke to about this palette, they said to use it with a tacky base, not to set your base, because you want the pigmentation of the shadows, which I do that normally, so I was okay with that. A lot of people on Sephora said that the, you know, shadows weren't blending as nicely and the mattes weren't as smooth, and they were just like not really that pigmented. I know someone mentioned the shade Bikini, and it's really sheer, which I do agree with that. I kind of call it like a topper. If it doesn't work all over the lid, then just throw it on top of something. If you have a purple smoky eye but you want some sheen to it, throw it on top. You know what I'm saying? That's just me trying to make it work. As for the shadows that I used, I definitely feel like, as I mentioned earlier, that two of the shades could have been switched out for a brown. That's my only complaint. The shadows did blend really well. I didn't have any patchiness. They did blend really well, except for Sandals. When I applied it on the concealer, it did darken. I don't know. Maybe because this is my first palette from Violet Voss, maybe I should pick up another palette. Let me know if you guys have any other Violet Voss palettes. Think that this palette is different, but I do think it's a really nice palette. I like the packaging. You get a really big mirror. So yeah, I don't know. I like this palette. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below of this video and then of this palette. Let me know if you guys have any other Violet Voss palettes that I should try out in comparison to this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!